Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with us. Time is 6:22. The Board of Education is back from exec session. That will move us into agenda item 4, which is communications. And I have PTA Council. Wait, Chrissy, hang on. It's not. There you go.
Hello? Oh, yes. Hello. My name is Christy McDuffie. I am here on behalf of the Champaign PTA Council, not actually on behalf of Mrs. Claus. Despite my outfit, I had a work event today and didn't think through tonight. PTA Council has had a slow fall, if you've been wondering where we are, but I am pleased to tell you that we had elections in November and have a new officer slate. So I am honored to be your president. Candace Solomon Strutz is vice president, Sujata Day Kuntz is treasurer, and Andrea Sullivan is secretary. We are excited to welcome two new officers, and I also want to say a resounding thank you to Tracy Quigg Thomas and Jennifer Enoch, who helped reestablish PTA Council over the past couple years. They also did a ton of work supporting families in our community. Sorry, it's hard to breathe through this mask. During the pandemic through CU Mutual Aid, and have now rotated off the board. So thank you to them for their service. Deep breath. For those of you who are not familiar with the PTA Council, we are a state PTA sanctioned body that represents the 16 PTAs in our district, elementary, middle school, and high school. Over the past several years, we have been establishing relationships with different people across the district, bringing speakers in to share information to families, and connecting PTAs with each other for support and collaboration. In the recent past, we have been a space for advocacy, such as championing longer lunch times and right to recess initiatives. We have facilitated inquiries into school funding, the deconstruction of the gifted program, and the school resource officer conversations. We also provide a space for updates on school board meetings and school board committee updates when possible. I will bring updates to you all as I gain more feedback from our units. Right now, I can share that many parents are concerned, as you all know, about the increasing violence in our community and how that affects our students. So thank you all for what you are doing to work on that. One thing I can say is I will be bringing feedback to the Discipline Advisory Committee where I serve, which we will be collaborating on the district safety plan, so that's one area of feedback. For the remainder of this year, our goals are to establish a relationship with Dr. Boozer, to continue building on the relationships with district cabinet members that we started last year, and to make even more contact with our unit PTAs. In addition to soliciting feedback during our meetings, I'm also attending the school PTA meetings to listen to their needs and see how we can support them. So if you're listening, I would love to come to your meeting. We will announce a spring meeting schedule soon, and everyone, parents, guardians, community members are invited to attend and join our listserv. You can track us on MemberHub on Facebook, and our email is ptacouncilunit4@gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that update. I'll turn this over to you, Dr. Boozer.
All righty. And Christy, I'm looking forward to our conversation. So, yeah, great. Well, I'm going to start it off. It's a new day for learning in Unit 4, and it's a great day. I would be remiss if I didn't say that. You all would think something was wrong with me. And it probably is, but it's all good. But I do want to take a few moments to in memory of Miss Paula Dowling. We remember her, Dr. Howard Elementary School educator. We lost her last week tragically, so I just wanted to let the Dr. Howard family and her family know that they are in our thoughts. And so anytime we have tragedy such as this, we don't take it for granted. And so I just remind people that life is short, and make sure you love your loved ones and make the best of your life. She will be greatly missed. And with that being said, I want to also go into some celebrations. I don't think we celebrate enough in Unit 4. So most of what I'm talking about, the rest of this, will be some celebrations. We've had 2 Edison students recognized by the Illinois Music Education Association. We've got a 2nd place and a 3rd place winner. this night, and I believe there were remix in a third place. So exciting. So congratulations to our 2 Edison students. Yes. Some more celebrations. In spite of, there is learning going on. Teaching and learning is the heartbeat of what we do in Unit 4, and I don't want anyone to ever forget that. We have other things happening, but at the center of everything is teaching and learning. So these are some shots of some of our Franklin savvy scientists in action. Having a great time, and if we can get our kids involved in science, get them excited about it, this is what we see. And behind those masks are a lot of smiles and a lot of great learning happening at Franklin, so excited about that. And also at Franklin, some more celebrations. We have Miss Mitchell, her English language arts class. We're doing some text set projects and presentations. So they were looking at different types of text and poems and songs and books, and then finding a common theme, and then creating artifact from that. So just been able to, and I know our English teacher up here would appreciate that, help them to be critical thinkers and how to bring different types of contexts and text together to come up with a theme. So that's exciting. That's happening also at Franklin STEAM Academy. Also, just a little bit, celebrations, thank yous to our community organizations. It's been an honor to be invited to speak to so many of our organizations in the community to share the Unit 4's vision and our mission and our goals. So a heartfelt thank you to our CU Schools Foundation, our Champaign Rotary, Wesley Church and Foundation, Champaign West Rotary, Lions Club, Kiwanis Club, Champaign Exchange Club, Altrusa, and I'm sure there's others that I have missed, but these are just a few of the places and folks that I've had an opportunity to speak to share the mission and the vision of Unit 4. Really excited about that. And another celebration, our Unit 4 COVID vaccination clinic that we held back in November. Can't believe we're in December now, but November 22nd and 23rd, and we vaccinated over 817 folks, and over 700 of those were students. So we're really excited about that, and I just want to put a plug in, and I know it was kind of a hardship for some people, but we have to do our part in Unit 4 to help combat this nasty virus, and we don't want to go on an adaptive pause. So if we don't do our part, that's what's going to happen. If we don't help our kiddos get vaccinated, then they're going to have to keep missing school, to be quarantined, and if you get so many in our community, our health department will say it's time to go on an adaptive pause. I can't make that decision. I don't want to make that decision. We're glad our kids are back in school. We want to keep them at school learning because that's what's best for them. And when we do this, it helps our teachers and our staff. And I know and I just want to do a shout out to our teachers. I know it's that time of year when everything feels like it's so much happening, but this is just one of the ways that we let them know that we appreciate them because we want to keep them safe as well as our kids and our families in the community. So I just wanted to say thank you for working with us, NAACP, and other community organizations to make that a great success. And so round 2 for the second dose is December 20th and 21st, and we're excited about that as well. So the great thing about it, the demographics were across the board. So we had many of our kiddos and families who traditionally would not get vaccinated show up for that vaccine clinic. And so we want to say thank you for everyone who helped that make that a reality for us. So, and that's all I have for you today. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Boozer. Any questions from the board? Okay. That will move us into item 5, which is our action agenda, new business. Item A is the administrative appointment, Director of Security and School Safety. We'll turn this over to Mr. Ken Kleber.
All right, good evening. The new position of Director of Security and School Safety was advertised through our website and other recruiting websites. 5 candidates were interviewed by a team, including licensed staff representatives, administrative representatives, support staff representatives, and some of our community partners. 2 candidates returned for level 2 interviews, and I'm going to ask him to stand at this time. Mr. Jeremy Canales was selected as our most outstanding candidate. Mr. Canales earned his Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice in May 1994 from Ferris State University and has had a 27-year career in the law enforcement field. Beginning in 1994, Jeremy joined the Rapid City Police Department in Rapid City, South Dakota as a patrol officer and served there for a period of 7 years. Relocating to Illinois in 2001, Mr. Canales accepted the position of patrol officer with the Champaign Police Department, and he will leave that position to become the first Director of Security and School Safety for Champaign Unit 4 schools. During his time with CPD, Mr. Canales served 6 years as an SRO at Edison Middle School. He was previously the liaison officer to a Rapid City, South Dakota high school for 2 years during his time in South Dakota. Mr. Canales has also served as an instructor at the Police Training Institute in Champaign for 11 years. Jeremy has extensive experience instructing and presenting safety trainings to community members, staff, students, and fellow law enforcement officers. In addition to his law enforcement experience, he has served Unit 4 schools and as an assistant track coach at Edison Middle School since 2015. Jeremy is deeply committed to ensuring the success of our students, and he's continually demonstrated this during his time serving as an SRO and track coach. He understands the importance of building strong, trusting relationships with students, staff, and the community, and sees this as one of the most important aspects of a quality school safety program. We're excited to welcome Mr. Canales into a new capacity in the district where he can continue the important work he is so passionate about. And we are recommending approval of Mr. Jeremy Canales as the Director of Safety and School Security with a start date of January 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. Cleaver. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, Brown. Shannon Brown, questions? Tammy, would you call roll?
Ms. Shannon,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes.
Dr. Baker,
Yes.
Ms. Soteropoulos,
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Mr. Canales. Welcome to Unit 4. You're welcome.
I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. It comes with a bit of sadness and excitement at the same time. As we know, there's been a lot of violence in our community. And as an individual, as one person coming to join a team that's trying to combat that violence, I've done it on the law enforcement side, and now I want to step over to the Unit 4 side, see if I can help out there. The reason I've done that is because when I was in Unit 4, working in the schools, I recognize the connection that we can make with our community when we're closer to it. In a law enforcement capacity, I think I'm limited as to what I can do. And in this capacity, I hope that it's a much greater effort with a much greater team to try to work with our youth and to try to help them and guide them in the right direction. I want to thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mr. Canales. Congratulations. That will move us to item 6. These are reports only. Item A is the Care Solace Mental Health Care Coordination. I will turn this over to you, Dr. Boozer.
Thank you. So Care Solace, this is our response to the pandemic, and so therefore we're seeking to provide supports for our students, our families, and our staff who have been adversely affected through, and they can utilize the services that Care Solace can help bring for them. Care Solace is a mental health care coordination service. They do not provide the service, but they help coordinate the services by connecting school communities to mental health and substance abuse supports, regardless of the circumstance. They have a 24/7 multilingual care companion team available to help our students, staff, and their families get connected to quality care. And the services include Care Loop. It's an internal dashboard for mental health staff to refer students, staff, and families directly to Care Companion Team. In addition, the Care Loop users can manage the caseload, stay in the loop on case updates, and access messaging and marketing materials to send out to the community. There's a Care Match that they utilize for self-serving, fully anonymous website available to students, staff, and families to have access 24/7 to get them connected to a list of providers that match their needs. And families can also reach out to Care Companion Team directly via text, a phone call, video call, or email. And this is important because mental health issues in some communities is taboo. And so if you can help them connect, feel they can connect themselves anonymously, that is powerful. Also, in Unit 4, we're doing so much to help our students and our staff in the buildings, but we also need to support our families. So we can do so much in the building, but if our families still need the help and support, this is another way in which we can say, we see you, we hear you, we want to help you without being judgmental. So because mental health is not a joke. It is something that people don't take serious, and then we can see the fruits of it, unfortunately, and it's not good fruit happening in our community right now. Trauma does not have a zip code. It does not have a color code that it prefers. Trauma is trauma. Mental health is real. And just like any other health issue and concern, we have to do something to support each other. And so that's why we want to bring Care Solace to the table to help us and our families. And so at this point in time, we do have a brief presentation about Care Solace from, I can't remember who's presenting today. It's not Brian. Are they on the line? They were going to zoom in. Yes, Janine. That's it. Thank you. I just knew Brian is who we spoke with. And the beauty of this is we can use our ESSER dollars because this is social emotional work. So we can use some of our ESSER funds to take care of this. But tonight, we just want to present it to you so we can talk about it, and then we'll bring it back if we decide this is the direction we want to go. All right, Janine, are you there? I can see you, but are you muted? I think I hear something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Janine.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for having me, Dr. Boozer, governing members of the board. I am thrilled to be able to have just a few moments out of your agenda to be able to share a little bit about Care Solace. I know I have about 10 minutes. So what I'll do is, in a very condensed way, give you the broadest overview of the service and what we provide and what that looks like for your school community, being your students, your families, and your staff members. Am I able to share my screen?
Can you guys give her screen sharing rights? All right.
Awesome. Fantastic. So hopefully you can see the Care Solace logo. And as I said, I'm going to keep this into a 10-minute time frame. And hopefully if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer at the end. But really just to dive in and share a little bit about who we are and what we're about. We are on a mental health care mission. Our goal really being to provide families, students and staff with a hand to hold, if you will, as they navigate what we all know is a very difficult system, which is that of mental health. We really just want to be a champion and an advocate for them through the process and make sure that they do get connected to care when they're in need of it. As a company, just a little history, we serve over 325 school districts across the country, over 3 million students and over 15 million staff and family members. Just to kind of set the tone about, and lay some foundation as to the service that we provide, and this will all sort of come full circle in the end. But, on average, it takes around close to 3 months these days to get an appointment for a mental health provider. 90% of the appointments that we book are within 2 weeks. And I'm going to speak to how we do this as we go through this. But I think it's an important thing to point out that only 18% of folks actually actually attend appointments that are booked more than 6 weeks out. They tend to give up on the process by then, and they tend to drop off and not attend. Our percentage rate is 83% of clients that we actually connect to care confirm that they attend that appointment and that they're happy with their providers. So I'm not going to read all of these, but those are just some groundwork that I wanted to provide to you as I sort of walk you through this tonight. These are the barriers that we help families navigate. These are really the hoops that families have to jump through, whether it's a language barrier, whether it's that long wait time to even get an appointment, navigating insurance. Families, it is very difficult to navigate insurance when it comes to mental health. And these are all things that our team have become experts in doing and do on behalf of the families that they do work with. So we have a goal at Care Solace, and that goal is to connect families to services within 24 to 72 hours. So ultimately, when we start working with a family within that first 24-hour time frame, we intend to come back to them with at least 3 options of providers that are available with an appointment within 72 hours to a week, with our outlier being that 2-week time frame. So it's really, again, shrinking that time and finding that access for families. The last thing I'll point out, and then I'm going to jump in and give you a good high-level overview of the actual service components that are provided, but it's just to sort of illustrate how we work with the MTSS. Every district that we partner with has invested into the MTSS structure. Very important to point out, we do not disrupt that process of those school-based services at all. When we partner with our districts, we really come in and act as a complementary action arm into the community, sort of an umbrella over that MTSS to assist when it's recognized that families do need wraparound care or longer term services in the community and a referral is needed. So I'm going to walk you through what that looks like very briefly. As I mentioned, we really have 2 major components to the service when we work with our families and our students and our school districts. And kind of the underlier between those 2 components is our care companion team, which is really the beating heart of what we do here at Care Solace. And I'll talk you through what they really do for families. But I'm going to jump out of this screen briefly so that I can just give you a picture of this first component of the service, which is an external facing tool that your families, your staff members can interact with on their own in order to find resources in the community. So this is a self-serve anonymous portal that, again, families can use confidentially in the event that maybe they're not comfortable talking to folks at school, but they know they need a resource. This gives them a safe place to be. So we provide you with a customized URL link specific to your school community that districts often disseminate over mass notification to families, put on their websites, school websites, et cetera, to make this resource available. So what this is a high-level pre-screen tool. And in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of explain how it works and show you the end result as opposed to walking through it. But it's essentially a number of high-level questions that families can walk through with regards to answering, first of all, what are they struggling with? What do they feel like they're struggling with? What their insurance is, what the age group of the person in concern, the gender, ethnicity, zip code, so that we can make sure we find the right location of services, and whether they are a student or staff member. Now, we do serve not just your students and their families, but this service also encompasses and includes staff members and their families as well. So if I were to walk through this, I think it's 9 questions total. What this is going to do is aggregate my answers, and it's going to provide me with a list of providers in the community that could potentially be available within that 24-hour time frame to book that appointment within a week. So I want to talk just very briefly about the care companion team, because if I'm a mom, I come to this list and I realize I don't have time to make a bunch of phone calls today, and I'm really not sure who these folks are. I can at any time in this process access the care companion team at Care Solace. The care companion team is our 24/7, 365 team. They are multilingual with access to over 250 languages. They are reached by email, phone, text, even video chat. And we take I will tell you that 31% of our calls that we field are between the hours of 5:30 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. These are the folks that do the legwork. They take on the heavy lift and the burden and make those phone calls for families to find them that access and that provider availability, and even help families enroll in those appointments and into care. That being said, I can always use this anonymously on my own if I so choose, and I can find these providers and call these providers and book an appointment on my own as well. So that is one of our facets. The other component facet of our service is actually an internal tool that is really built specifically for the school staff. So our typical users of this are counselors, school social workers, school psychologists, nurses, principals, and APs. And we provide 30 minutes of training on this. This is a dashboard that serves two purposes for school staff. It is where they can do what we call a warm handoff, and you'll see the orange button here in the center. The warm handoff is essentially a referral from, say, a counselor at the school who is working with a family. We've recognized with the mom and dad that this student needs longer term services or wraparound services, and their need for the community referral is there. They can actually, as a partner of Care Solace, bring in a care companion through this referral process to have the care companion assist with this process in getting this family connected to that care. It's a FERPA compliant process. All that's needed is a name of the student, name and contact information of that parent, verbal consent from that mom, dad, or legal guardian that they're willing to receive a call from us so that we can help them with that process. And then we're off to the races. The second part of this is what you see as a dashboard that is directly for that referring staff member, that social worker or counselor who has referred the student out. And you see that each student, each family has their own card with case details associated for that transparency and visibility and accountability, that those counselors, those referring staff members know that this family is getting the services that they need. So it's basically a walking timeline of a communication touch points from when the case was received by our care companion, and all of the communications to that mom, dad, or legal guardian, calling of providers. There's a notation of the appointment when it was made and which provider that family did choose. And most importantly, for those counselors, peace of mind, knowing that that family did get connected to care, is a notation and enrollment into care confirmed. We do follow up with the families the day after the scheduled appointment to ensure that they attended and that they were happy with their provider. And then we do a series of follow-ups in the weeks thereafter to ensure that they're still enrolled in care and still happy with that connection that we made for them. And all of that is logged in this dashboard for staff members to be able to track and make note of. Very last piece, and I know I'm probably at my last minute here, is I will share the utilization reports. This is just a mock-up of one, but what this does provide is essentially an impact report on the service and what's being utilized in the community. It's district-wide, as well as you can drill it down into your school sites. And it provides you with information about inbound calls, how many calls, texts, emails we've fielded with families and helped get connected. Communications saved are emails, outgoing emails, phone, texts that we've made in connecting families to care, and basically saved your school staff that effort. Your number of warm handoffs or referrals from their staff and appointments booked into care, and there's always a delta pending due to the fact that this is a real-time roll-up. And while for confidentiality, there's no note of who these families are that used the anonymous search, you do see how many families took advantage of that resource, followed through and booked appointments on their own. And finally, there is a breakdown of gender, age, ethnicity, DSM-5 category, top 10 insurances being utilized, and the top 10 providers that are right in your backyard who are providing that timely access to families. So I know I spoke very quickly and it was a very high level overview, But I wanted to make sure I was respectful of time and was able to field any questions that anyone might have. And I have my colleague Miriam on the call as well for any questions that might come up.
Thank you, Janine. I really appreciate it. So we're going to open it up now. Giving it to you.
Mr. Brown?
So, Dr. Boozer, can you explain, well, just briefly, how you see Carousel as helping with our initiatives and helping our families, maybe whether it be the LIFT program or just across the board? And
I think it's all the above. So the LIFT program could definitely have access to this as well as part of what they're doing to lift our families that need some supports. I also see it helping our social workers and administrators and teachers in the buildings when they run across kiddos who are needing some support, but you can only go so far and they need more than what we can give them. And quite frankly, right now, we're kind of on overload. Our buildings are running hot with there's so much need, and so there's only so much, and even our wellness centers in our high schools are on overload as well. So being able to support our families and our kiddos and our staff members, because believe it or not, we even have staff who need this support as well. So it's not just our kids. But I think the piece that I like the most is even though we may be able to support kids in the building, there are kids whose families need this, and we can't do anything for them per se, but this is an opportunity that we can do a warm handoff as a kid is talking to their teacher or to the counselor or whatever, or at the LIFT program, and they realize there's more that we can't do. The family now has a tool at their fingertips to get the support that they need. That's
good. And question for Janine, and please forgive me if I'm asking for the family recipe or the secret sauce, but how are you able to get these appointments within 2 weeks? And these are,
Yeah,
it looks like you're using local providers as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's probably the number one question, to be honest. And I know Miriam can address this as well. And I'm not worried about giving away the secret sauce. To be honest, a huge part of our secret sauce is truly the Care Companions' tenacity, for lack of a better word, in not giving up. A huge number of families doing this on their own after about 10 phone calls and being told no, they tend to give up. Our Care Companions will not give up on the process until they find availability. So that is one thing. I know that Care Companions often make an average of 50 to 70 phone calls per family that they work with to find provider availability. And the other piece of the other component to this, and Miriam can probably speak to this even better than I can, is the database and the capacity of our database. So Miriam, if you want to just kind of add some shade to that, that might be the other piece of this.
Sure thing. I think it helps. So everything that Janine said about the relentless tenacity of our Care Companions, but also the specialization of their skill set. So when we come into a community, we learn the community, we build out our database of local providers as well as telehealth providers, if that's a choice of the family. So really giving that Care Companion the leverage of technology on their side to be able to quickly filter through options that are matched to the family's criteria, which the family would take a lot longer to go through that process for themselves. And like Janine is saying, don't always have the bandwidth to carry out that emotional labor of searching, only to be rejected or have wait list of leading up to a month. Important to also be aware that one of the key drivers for our team is to find quickest available options, because we know that quick connection to care ensures better success, better outcomes for folks. The quicker they are connected, the less likely they are going to give up, the more likely they're going to get the help that they desperately need.
Thank you.
So some of the secret sauce, but not the whole recipe.
Thank you.
Ms. Shannon?
Dr. Boozer, this is just a comment for you. I just want to say how much I appreciate this. I've often said that expecting people who are under stress or having mental health problems to find their own help is like asking you to walk to the hospital to get help when you've broken your leg. And I so appreciate your supporting our students, our staff, and their families. There's more mental health issues right now than I think we have ever seen before in this country. And so whatever we can do to support our community is essential at this time. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. And I just want to say, it's been here. You know, the mental health issues have been here. It's just the pandemic has exposed it more. And I think now's the time. If we don't, we're going to lose. And we don't have a student, a staff, a family member to lose. It's all of our responsibility to try and save them or support them, not save them, support them.
Dr. Baker?
A couple of questions. Where did we hear about them from?
Well, glad you asked. I was at a conference, and it was in the middle of chaos in Unit 4. And I was at a conference, and because people care about Unit 4 and the superintendents and different ones who we look out for each other. So while I was at the conference, someone said to me, hey, I was told to seek out Dr. Boozer because there's a lot of things going on in Unit 4 in Champaign, and they could probably use your support. And so Brian sought me out, and here we are. We had a great conversation, and I was very grateful and appreciative that many people, especially in the Chicago area, are saying, hey, there is a way in which you can address this. There's a lot, you can't do it on your own. You need a support system. So that's how we have them.
Thank you. How often do you update your list of providers?
Great question. Daily. So not only in the active, so we have a whole tech team, data and research team, Janine can speak more or add on as you see fit, that is constantly culling our list, ensuring that we have robust options. Additional to that, each time we're searching on behalf of a family, so they have their dedicated care companion, one person who's really their main point of contact, who they're communicating with, who's their advocate. That person is also updating our database if they're finding information that's out of date. So we have a tech and research component, and then we have the human element of saying, this is the current on the ground, the latest, which as a former student services director, I've never been able to keep on top of the availability, the insurances that providers change all the time. So it's more than just adding providers to our database. It's also making sure that their information, whether they're accepting clients, is the most recent up-to-date information to inform folks of a good connection. Separate from that, we also have a person whose sole job is to build relationship with community providers. She does a lot of outreach, meeting with providers to make sure they understand what we do, how we can connect, provide well-matched clients suited to them. We don't have financial relationship with any of our providers. We like to call ourselves agnostic. Our strong position is everyone deserves care, and everyone deserves care that's matched to their unique needs. And we feel like having a financial relationship with any provider who might want to list undermines that credibility. So providers who meet our criteria can have access to their profile, update their information. So there's actually a third component, which if you're in our database, you'll be able to manage your information to make sure it's most recent and fully reflects your scope and practice.
And what about those that don't have insurance? I'm assuming that many of
Yes, absolutely. So we have resources if you have private, public insurance, all insurances, or those who need low pay or no pay options, we'll find those as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Super important point.
One last point, Dr. Boozer. I would like to see the KPIs a year from now, at least a report, to see how much we're using.
Heather?
I'm fairly certain one of you answered it, but I'm not sure which. So let's say, you said there's a lot of follow-up with after a family or a person has been matched. If a person is opts out, can you just clarify that there are other mechanisms are pursued for reaching a person? Say they don't want to take a phone call, emails are chosen, text messages, other mechanisms are chosen. Is that correct? Could I just clarify that? Because I know sometimes I don't answer a phone. I know sometimes people don't answer a phone from me.
It's a reality of today, right? Janine, I don't know if you want to talk more about our different methods.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, our care companions will reach out primarily by phone. They'll try the phone call, but as you said, some people don't answer the phone. In that event, we do reach out over modalities with email. We'll reach out through text if it's a cell phone number that we have, which most of them are. And they will consistently do so in efforts to connect with the family in one form or another. And we have a protocol, honestly, for this with regards to folks that are unreachable, but we do follow a protocol in reaching out over different pathways, different times of day, trying to reach that family, logging all of that in that dashboard. So if a referring counselor can know what's happening, and then at a certain time, if we have to mark them unreachable, we will. But we will definitely make every effort to connect with those families.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that when a group of us went to the community against violence, or what was it called? Victory Over Violence, that's it, Victory Over Violence. And one of the comments that was made by a parent who was on the panel is that sometimes we don't do enough to wrap around the families who are experiencing it. We do things for the kids, but we don't do enough to wrap around the families. So this is one of the things I was talking about when I was at that LUDA conference. And so that's why they sought me out and said, hey, we may have a solution to help your community. So that was one of the reasons too.
Question. How do you handle it? And Janine, this is probably for you. How do you handle it if you encounter a crisis situation that you need to alert the district back to without compromising confidentiality? How do you handle that?
Great question. Yeah, and very important to point out, we are not crisis interventionists at Care Solace. We are care coordinators. We do have protocol, of course, for crisis situations. We do have a partnership with the prevention hotline. So if we receive a call in an exacerbated situation, we can conference call in that crisis interventionist if that is deemed appropriate, or recommend, of course, that they call 911. That being said, on the district side of things and notifying the district, we do have a process for that as well. I'm going to let Miriam speak to that, her being our district expert.
Sure thing. So in addition, if there is an emergent situation where there's a threat or risk of harm, especially that's identifiable, that's intervenable, we will contact the police, local police, to intervene in that circumstance, and we will notify the district. Districts can specify their 3 points of contact, of which our licensed team will reach out and communicate the information that needs to be disclosed. And confidentiality is really important. At the same time, there are exceptions to confidentiality. One of those is risk or harm to self or others. And so we are prepared. We thankfully, in these day and age, I don't like to say things. This is not a process we've had to deploy frequently, which we're grateful for. But at the same time, should that unfortunate circumstance happen, we're prepared to take the appropriate measures.
Thank you. And it's accessible too? I know you mentioned languages, but is it accessible?
Yes, absolutely.
And then Dr. Boozer, this would be for you. How are you, whose oversight, who are they direct reporting to in the district, and how are we tracking their use?
That's a great question. Dr. Harden is our SEL, our resident SEL expert, so to speak, so they will be directly reporting to him. And also Mr. O'Neill as well, because he with the social workers. And so, yeah, we have a little team. And then the equity piece, of course, Dr. Ward will help with that.
Okay, and I do see the contract runs through 2025, so how often do you expect to report back or receive reports back and forth between you and the oversight piece and the Care Solace?
Well, and especially since if we decide to go this route, we would want to definitely make sure we're watching over it every month for a while and having those conversations to make sure it's working and the training is happening, and then we can report back to the board as often as you all like for us to.
Any other questions? This is a report only. We're not taking action. Will we see this coming forward at some point?
Hopefully, if all goes well, we'll be bringing it back in January for a vote,
Okay.
for approval.
Okay. Thank you, team.
Thanks,
on
Janine. I
Zoom.
appreciate you all being able to jump in and do this for us on quick notice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your time this evening. Have a great rest of your night.
You too.
Hi, everyone.
That moves us to another report. Item B is our Educational Technology Department update. I will turn this over to Valerian Couch, or he needs the.
You all missed him dressed in his Santa suit earlier today. It was amazing. I tried to talk him into coming to present in his Santa suit, but he wouldn't do it.
I'll take that. All right, we're gonna go through the IT security update. Before I get started, I want to say that I'm rapidly coming up on the first year since March. So as of everything that is going through the presentation, this is everything that has happened and is going on now since March. IT mission goes into the district technology plan that we have put in place, create a culture of innovation and collaboration with commitment to equity access, student learning, professional learning, and a robust infrastructure. I want to emphasize equitable access and robust infrastructure. I left the two in the middle for teaching and learning. So these are some of the projects that we have been undergoing ever since March. I hit some of the high-level things, and I want to run down some of the things that we're doing now. The network redesign, the voice over IP phone project, completely one-to-one across the full district, assets management with a new help desk ticketing system, remote desktop support, a brand new cybersecurity software solution that we put in place back in March, Rave panic button that is coming as of January of next year. 24 by Securely allows us to 24/7, and which I will go into some of these further. A complete camera system redesign to support the over 500 cameras that we do have in the district now. Cameras and Wi-Fi for the buses that we're looking at adding here soon, mostly a project for next summer. Security awareness training for anybody that is kind of vulnerable and up to par. We do have that we'll get into. Enhanced content blocking with Cisco Umbrella that we try to put out there as well. New up-to-date antivirus from Cortex. Cisco Dual is a two-factor and multi-factor authentication. A new printer program for PrinterLogix that allows us to use IP-based printing throughout the entire district. Automatic account creations. For this one, for the amount of accounts that we have on a daily basis, the automatic side kind of helps us out a lot with all the students that we continue to have. AV Tech, which are environmental sensors that allows us to track the heat and cold within all of our service rooms. The respect to the board, I am doing a full boardroom audio upgrade. It has already shipped, so we are on par to get this taken care of beginning part of next year. And we are also bringing eSchool on premise. So with that, it allows us to have more flexibility with tying into eFinance and some of the other programs to make everything talk seamlessly. Part of the network redesign, I'm not gonna go on all the technical stuff. It is a lot technical for what we got to do. I did put it in there so you all could see the amount of stuff that we're doing now. I do want to touch on this slide because the biggest part for me is the VMware Horizon VDI project. What we're doing is bringing Champaign Unit 4 to communities near you. What that means is we're bringing our servers, our network to community classrooms, community outreach, any type of community aspect to where they want to teach not just kids, but where they want to teach adults. We're looking at giving them Adobe Pro Creative, language programs, math programs, reading programs. All these programs will be accessible to them at their fingertips for them to be able to utilize. And this is something that we have the capability of start to provide for the community. Not only are we doing this from a VDI standpoint, but a network standpoint. We will give, right now I have 15 Cisco Meraki devices that will allow us to give out to each one of the community partners. Only thing they have to do is plug their internet in, and they will be back on Unifor Network. So if they have kids come in that want to get on the network, they could join Unifor Network just by accessing that device. The upgrade for all servers, all network equipment, we got asked a question a while ago, do we have the capacity to handle all the stuff that's coming? We're going from 1 gig to 25 gigs of bandwidth across the entire district, and that's internal. External from the ISPs, I have talked them in from going from 2 gig to 30 gig to support the internet speed that we have across the district, and that'll be for every school. This still covered the VDI project, and just how you take high-end devices and software can be utilized on a low-end device, like a Chromebook. You could bring up a brand-new desktop anytime just by using a Chromebook through our VDI project that we're looking at. We have the security, we have the privacy, we have everything across the board to protect and secure them the same way they will be at Unifor. The voice over IP phone system, I know this has been a long time coming. We have been with Toshiba for years. Now we have a voice over IP phone system in case we have to go back teleworker, in case we had to have stuff to go home. We would have the phone system capacity for them to use phones at home or wherever they choose to use phones at. Because we have soft phones, we have the hard phones. It could be transferred to a cell phone, but you would still have access to use your Unifor number at any time. Completely one-on-one across the district, that means 1-to-1. 1 Chromebook for every student, 1 laptop for every teacher. We have Chrome Depot at each location. We have a rotating schedule at each one of the locations, and hours do vary. And I know that sometimes that the Chrome Depot is open and closed at some of the locations, but we trying to make sure that going forward, we have enough staff to support that. This is our 1-to-1 plus help desk ticketing system. Once you're able to get into the report, you can see where we have some elementary, middle schools that has the same capacity of tickets as some of the high schools. So it has been phenomenal for us to use. We have closed well over 1,600 tickets since the beginning of school. So we are constantly moving, constantly doing stuff. Even as I speak, my team is working right now, setting up, doing the network, because we in the process of redoing our entire network. And starting today, they have been prepping the network. Starting tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we will start taking down the network. 24/Securely, we have live monitoring of student habits. It notifies administration all the time. We get emails constantly on the district admin side, the building side, and also the parent side. If they cannot contact a building administrator, 24/Securely will contact the law enforcement to initiate a wellness check for that kid. But sometimes it's not always good to contact the parent because you never know the situation. The security cameras, as of right now, we have a silo effect. So we do have a security system at every single school. So that's basically 19 different security systems. It's one system, but it's still 19 different systems. So we're in the process of bringing everything back to our hub and our backup location to have multiple systems in one. We will have the capacity and retention. We will not just have 2 weeks of retention. We will have 6 months. The security awareness training. So we send out these as often as possible just to see who will click on a email that is sent out. We have got a few offenders. But what it does is it teaches you how to be secure for yourself. and not just on a how can I keep District 4 secure, but how can I maintain a security level of myself? You're on Facebook, you're on social media, you're on your Gmail all the time. Just as well as we can send out a phishing campaign, imagine what would really happen if somebody actually phish you and start taking money out your account. So it's better for us to start training more, just to train the mind a little bit differently. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Couch. Questions?
Comment. Quite impressive. I know once you start getting into technical aspects, what most students and parents, teachers feel like, why is the internet not working? So moving from 1 gig to 25 on your servers, internal servers, and then the 2 to 10 on outside, that makes a world of difference.
It's actually 2 to 30.
2 to 30.
You will see it.
Got you. But yes, this is awesome to see that we actually do have the capacity to sustain and assist everything that we're bringing into the district. Hats off to you and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Dr. Baker?
It's just trying to situate it. Is VDI like VPN?
Virtual desktop infrastructure.
Is it like VPN?
No, ma'am.
It's totally different.
It is different.
Okay. I'll come to you later and really get it.
Okay.
For eSchool, is that home access in our district? When we say eSchool, yes, I see a head nod behind you. Yes, so we
Yeah.
will be bringing that in-house. It won't
Correct.
be.
So right now it's hosted, but it has limited capability
It
of
does.
allowing us to do technical stuff on the back end. When we bring it in-house, we have more programming capability to add in e-finance and some of the other programs like TeleNet and things together.
Okay, I think that's a great thing. When you mention partners to access some of these units, you're thinking like the library?
I'm thinking library, churches, community leaders that have computer labs
Yeah, within
to
them.
offer to the community.
Okay. And last comment, Rave, anything you can do to speed that up? I keep hearing from parents, it would be much appreciated, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I had just a couple of questions for you, Valerian. How much input are you getting from staff, from teachers specifically regarding these upgrades? Are you reaching out to them to see what their needs are?
So normally what I do is I send out a small email that's very that's very large. But I am communicating with everyone, and not just administrators, but I do communicate with everyone to let everyone know what's going on in IT. So there are some that send them back emails. I have got emails saying, thank you for even communicating this with us. So that way everybody's on the same page for what we're doing in our department.
Okay. And when you started, what was the budget in IT and what is it now? It might be a question for Linda, but you're the manager, so I assume you know.
I think I started with around one.
Probably not a fair question. because
Yeah.
A lot of the infrastructure improvements we did were relative to ESSER funding
Correct.
that we received. So the original technology budget, which was moved into some other budgets as well to help absorb some of the costs, from a direct comparison, was probably in the 600 to 700. We're probably closer to $1.5 million, $1.75 million at this point. But again, not actually fair since it's really paid for with a lot of the grants because it's one time. It'll be the ongoing maintenance of the equipment in the long term. We'll just have to begin to factor through.
Okay. Should that be added? I know they discussed this at our ROC meeting, and as we transition to facility oversight, maybe it's a question for you, Valerian, be connected into that so that each campus, as we're identifying an ongoing facility planning, should an ID just be embedded into each campus?
Yes.
So Valerian has a 5-year, so the technology, long-term technology plan sort of sits in parallel with ROC's long-range capital improvement plan is sort of more physical assets. Valerian's long-range technology plan, as well as teaching and learning's long-range textbook adoption cycle plans, all of those sit in parallel on top of each other.
Perfect. Okay, that's helpful. And how are you protecting, I know there's a lot of monitoring, how are you protecting personal rights of their personal accounts? I mean, we don't want to be monitoring personal accounts and personal information. Are we careful with that?
I'm very careful with that. I think that for the security of the district, if you're more visible, then we're trying to do everything in our power to make sure that, yes, on the personal side, if somebody hack you and get your personal information and they know that you sit in a position of power inside Unit 4, it leaves us vulnerable for everything. So from a higher level, we protect everything from your personal stuff, your assets. We make recommendations just to try to make sure everything is protected across the board, because most people are more visible than what they realize, and not seeing that your friend next to you can be that person that opened the door to everything that you just lost.
That's a choice, correct?
Yeah, for me, I'm using myself as an example. I had to give him all of my personal, when I don't have a whole lot of social media stuff because I just don't have time for it, but because I do have a personal email and I have a Facebook page, things of that nature, I had to give that things to him because I have been hacked before. And it could have gone into Unit 4 because of the position that I hold. So I'm okay with it because I want to protect myself and I want to protect the district.
But
But it is a choice.
We're not asking for passwords. It's
No,
only
no
the
passwords.
the actual username.
Yes, no password.
No, we don't need to get into your account. We just need to monitor if anybody is impersonating you to gain access into anything else within the
Gotcha.
district.
Okay.
Thanks for that clarity. Because he asked me
you.
for my passwords, I don't know half of them
Okay.
anyway, so.
Okay. And then I think a shout out to Ryan Porter, because he was one of our desk operators and he was wonderful. And I know your team has been under a lot of stress, especially when the kids were home and the students were home and our staff was at home. So big shout out to your whole team, Valerian. It is to reflect the rest of the board. The other question I had was on the securely contact. Is there a way to, I know you said they'll call the police if they can't get the parent?
No, normally this is the process that they go. They'll contact the district administrator first. So they normally would send myself, Dr. Taylor, Orlando, or either Annie O'Neill or email first. Then it'll go to the school administrators. Then if nobody replied, then it would go to the police department because they got to contact the police department to contact the parent.
Gotcha. Okay. And could we put Lyft in there next? Don't we have like a 24-hour connection there? Or is that too disconnected? I'm just trying to get one more.
I wouldn't put Lyft in
Okay.
there. We already have enough district admins across the board in there. So as we structure it out, we will have the admins. We can add the admins in there from Lyft
Gotcha.
to be able to be a point of contact for those students, yes. But we don't want to have them as a go-to because you still have other entities that play a factor in that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Ms. Shannon, and then I'll go to Heather.
So I just have a question in terms of the community partnerships and computer labs and such. So I know that within Unit 4, we block some websites. We block social media, right? Like if you're a student, you can't, am I right? You can't
Yes, ma'am.
access Facebook on your school network.
Correct.
I'm assuming that you cannot do that with our community partners as well, right? that they're going to be subject to the same kinds of blocks that,
I think that it had to be a further discussion whether or not it's going to be for kids or be for adults.
okay,
Because if it's for adults, then that'll be a little bit more unrestrictive
right,
than for the kids. With the kids, we still want to kind of have that level of security across the board.
yeah, I mean, I do, if we're doing things to educate our community, I think we could all use some social media education, honestly. We should all use certain, maybe a little bit more etiquette in terms of social media, and so maybe that's an area of further conversation. But I also wanted to confirm that the 24 securely monitoring would not be happening with adults.
No,
correct?
it would not be happening.
Okay.
That would actually be for the Chromebooks.
Okay.
Securely is used on the Chromebooks.
Gotcha.
VDI will be used through Cortex, not Cortex, but Cisco Umbrella. So we do have well filter, but it would not be to the extent it will block YouTube. Because some things you might have to go out in YouTube. You might have to go out. If they utilize Babbel for a language program,
Right.
they may ask them to do different lessons and stuff. So
Yes.
we don't want to restrict as much as we do for the students.
Right, but we're still going to have a conversation about
Yes, ma'am.
what to restrict, because there are maybe some things that we would want to restrict.
It will be locked down, but just not as bad.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ms. Vasquez?
Valerian, how much you're coming up on a year, you said, how much has your team grown to achieve all this? How many, and if your team has not grown, can you remind us how many people you're doing this with, please?
So we have a total of 14, including myself. My staff has grown by 2. We have made some changes. We have some people that have left. We have made significant changes. But as far as professional growth, I do have half of my staff going to college right now, getting a bachelor's degree, and that same half, and the majority of over half, are working on getting certifications. So by the time they're done within the next 2 years, they will have bachelor's degrees or master's degrees and 8 to 10 certifications.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, thank you very much for the update and the report.
Yes, ma'am.
And that will move us to item 7, which is a public hearing. A public hearing on the limitation of administrative costs waiver for FY 2022. Want me to open the hearing now? Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Soteropoulos Vasquez. Tammy, would you call roll?
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. The board is now conducting a public hearing regarding the administrative cost waivers for FY 2022. Ms. Linda Matkowski.
Board has been through this before, so this isn't a new hearing. We don't do it very often, generally every couple of years. Under Illinois School Code, I don't even have the thingamajigger. Under the Illinois School Code, school districts in Illinois are prohibited from increasing their administrative costs in certain budget lines more than 5% in any school year. When we do have a school district that exceeds it, there's a number of steps that the school district can take depending upon their status with respect to like school districts also across the state. So the administrative expenditures are derived out of the attached budget codes, and in the back of the hearing presentation, there's actually a spreadsheet with an analysis back to fiscal year 16. So you can see when you look through the hearing, when you look through the history of the district back in 2016 had 980,000. It's now currently at 1,190,000, just to roll it up.
We had a 16% increase last year, mostly due to increases in the special area administration, which is really grants, which makes sense. Last year was a very heavy title and ESSER grant year, so as those grants, early childhood, as those grants are starting to add administrative staff, those expenses are coming into that particular line. Some costs have gone down, a few of them have started to come up. Internal services are really our storekeepers. So when you think about all of the masks and the gloves and all of the internal purchasing that was going on during remote learning, it stands to reason that those costs go up. So we have an internal we call them storekeepers. It's actually like a purchasing hub, internal purchasing hub for the buildings. So if they need certain supplies, they go to a centralized location. We purchase it as a centralized location, and then it's billed back out to the individual buildings. So those are representative of really some of the costs associated with the remote learning process and some of the newer supplies that we had. It's worth noting we are in the lowest 25 percentile across all unit districts in the state. In fact, we are 371 out of 385. So we are really low. And so this is really just a perfunctory process with respect to coming through the hearing, the increases that we're seeing, and then walking through the resolution that's later in the agenda.
Thank you. At this time, there will be public comment regarding this topic. If anybody has anything on this topic regarding the cost. Seeing none, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Soto Robles Shannon. Tammy, would you call roll?
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Are there any questions from the board? When you talk about a hub, Linda, do the campuses know how to access that?
Yes, there's very specific processes. They have online ordering they can do. They have some manual paperwork they can fill out if they want stuff. Typically, they send an email and say, we're out of toilet paper, we are out of gloves, we're out of masks, we need crayons. What we are looking at doing is overhauling that process a little bit. I'd like to see more within the district being purchased on a centralized basis, distributed out, and some consolidation of some of the things that are being purchased. We don't need 17 different versions of crayons. We can probably limit that to 5, maybe. So little things like that that can sort of streamline that purchase, makes it a lot more efficient, and it goes and ties into that Amazon purchase conversation that seems to be the perpetual conversation we have about individual building purchasing.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is not actionable at this time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Seeing no other questions or comments, we will move into item 8, which is our action agenda, new business. Item A is the approval of the FY 2021 property tax levy. I will turn this back over to you, Ms. Matkowski.
So we were laughing about this today. We think this is the 4th time I've actually talked about the property tax levy in the last 2 months. So everybody's really well versed by now on the board with respect to the property tax levy. Not much. This is action item. As a reminder to the board, we are not asking for, we don't have this up. We are not asking the board for an increase over the 5%, so there is no public hearing. We'll just roll right into the resolution adopting the levy this year. And this is really predicated based on information we received from the county assessor's office as it relates to property values, both new and reassessment, and then how we were contemplating with CPI where we believe the tax rates are going to come. So this is really just a mathematical formula at this time. So that's not showing.
Any questions for Ms. Linda? Okay. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Soteropoulos Shannon. Any other comments? This has been, actually, your presentation on the levy is pretty amazing, so again, thank you for that. And administration is recommending the approval of the proposed 2021 property tax levy. Once the levy is authorized by the board, it will be submitted to the county clerk. This represents an increase of 4.98%. Tammy, would you please call roll?
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. That'll move us into item B, which is the approval of a resolution abating taxes levied for year 2021 for debt service on Series 2019 or alternative revenue bonds. Back to you, Ms. Linda Matkowski.
So again, this item, as well as the next two items regarding the abatement of taxes, tie together. So this is a part of our property tax process. The 2019 bonds, which are the subject of 8B, are the alternative revenue bond levies. These are the debt service that is supported with, this is the refunding, if the board recalls, we did in 2019, of the 2010 bonds, which were supported with the county school facility sales tax.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Soteropoulos Shannon. Any questions or comments from the board? The administration is recommending the approval of the resolution abating Series 2019 taxes levied for tax year 2021. Tammy, would you please call roll?
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. That will move us to item C, which is the approval of the resolution abating taxes levied for year 2021 for debt service on Series 2010 AB general obligation alternative revenue bonds. Ms. Linda Matkowski.
So this is the abatement resolution for the remaining outstanding Series 2010 bonds. And remember, these go quite a ways. I think 2036 is the final payment on these bonds. These bonds are also supported by the countywide school facility tax. I didn't say this last time, but I did want to bring this up because this is also a point of information for the board. We are seeing very, very strong monthly revenue receipts coming in from sales tax. The September tax receipts, which we received last month, were about $350,000 more than what they have been in previous timeframes. So clearly coming out of COVID, regaining some strength with respect to the university and the downtown, all of those are definitely helping us get back to the trend analysis that we had originally assumed when we undertook all of these bond issues.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Soteropoulos Shannon. Any questions from the board? Okay, the recommendation is the administration recommends approval of the resolution abating taxes levied for year 2021 for debt service on Series 2010 AB general obligation alternate revenue bonds. Tammy, would you please call roll?
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. That'll move us to item D, which is the approval of resolution abating a portion of the taxes levied for year 2021 for debt service on Series 2017 general obligation bonds. We'll turn this back over to you, Ms. Matkowski.
So if the board recalls, as a part of the property tax levy this year, one of the promises that we wanted to extend, or I guess one of the courtesies we wanted to extend to taxpayers this year, given everyone coming out of COVID, coming out of certain economic situations, the board had expressed an interest in trying to really hold the tax levy down as much as possible without necessarily impacting the district in the future with respect to the operating tax rates. The most effective way to do that is to abate one of the bond series that is available to the district. So we are abating and making a resolution to abate $1 million this year from the series 2017. The district has additional loss and cost on hand that has built over the course of many years that are sitting in the district's debt service reserve account. We can use that money for additional debt service payments. So this was a logical place for us to be able to take those reserve levels down, abate taxes to reduce the tax rate to the taxpayers. So taxpayers would see a reduction in the rate from 72 cents to 64 cents in the bond and interest levy. And that effect will help us maintain that lower tax rate this year for the property taxes. Now, once we do this year, we won't have much of an opportunity to do it again going forward in the future for a while. We'll have to re-let that loss and cost rebuild. But once that begins to rebuild, then we can come back to the board with additional abatements in future years.
May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Soto Robles Shannon, any questions? The recommendation is the approval of the resolution providing for a partial abatement of the Series 2017 taxes levied for tax year 2021. Tammy, would you call roll?
Ms. Soto Robles?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you so much, Linda. That will move us into item E, which is the approval of the FY 2020 or 2022 ESSA Consolidation Title Grant application. And I will turn this over to you, Dr. Boozer.
Thank you. Tonight, we're just asking for approval of our FY22 ESSA Consolidated Grant, and it's the Title I, Part A, which is the improvement of academic achievement for the disadvantaged, and it's roughly $4.9 million. And the Title II, Part A, which is preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers, principals, and other school leaders, which is $996,850 for a combined total for the two of these, roughly $5.9 million. And we share about $75,000 of this with our non-public schools. So the Title I and Title II grant picks up all the costs for salaries, increase for staffing, and the financial implication, it also picks up costs for salary increases as well, and the assessment and evaluation that we use. The district submits the ESSA performance report and the comparability report on an annual basis, and then we also have to submit a quarterly grant accountability and transparency report, so that makes sure that we're spending the money the way we say we're supposed to, and that our data is showing that we're utilizing the funds in which we are supposed to use them. So that is our ESSA, FY22 ESSA Consolidated Title Grant.
Thank you, Dr. Boozer. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Shannon, Brown. Questions? Okay, the recommendation is that we approve the FY 2022 ESSA Consolidated Title Grant application in the amount of $5,943,516. Tammy, would you call roll?
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Soto Robles?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. That will move us to item F, student discipline. It is the decision of the Board of Education that student number 223810 shall be provided an alternative placement for the remainder of the 2021-2022 and the first semester of the 2022-2023 school year for violating Conduct Codes number 25, threats to and intimidation of student, of the Unit 4 Student Code of Conduct. So long as the student meets the attendance and behavioral requirements of the student's alternative placement during the expulsion period, the board shall hold its discipline determination in abeyance. If the student does not accept the alternative placement or meet the attendance and behavioral requirements of the offered alternative placement, then the decision of the Board of Education is to expel the student for the remainder of the duration stated above. The duration of the alternative placement expulsion is based upon the egregiousness of the violation of the conduct codes listed above, prior discipline and other interventions attempted, continuing safety threat posed by the student's presence in school, and the significant detrimental impact of the student's conduct on the learning environment. The removal of the student from the learning environment is in the best interest of the district because the student's continuing presence would constitute a safety risk and/or disruption. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Shannon Vasquez. Tammy, would you please call roll?
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. It is the decision of the Board of Education that student number 591155 shall be provided an alternative placement for 2 calendar school years for violating conduct codes number 31, other acts that endanger, and number 334, weapon-related activities of the Unit 4 Student Code of Conduct. So long as the student meets the attendance and behavioral requirements of the student's alternative placement during the expulsion period, the board shall hold its discipline determination in abeyance. If the student does not accept the alternative placement or meet the attendance and behavioral requirements of the offered alternative placement, then the decision of the Board of Education is to expel the student for the remainder of the duration stated above. The duration of the alternative placement expulsion is based upon the egregiousness of the violation of conduct codes listed above, the continuing safety threat posed by the student's presence in school, and the significant detrimental impact of the student's conduct on the learning environment. The removal of the student from the learning environment is in the best interest of the district because the student's continuing presence would constitute a safety risk and/or disruption. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Shannon Armstrong. Tammy, would you please call roll?
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. That will move us to agenda item 9, which is our consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Soteropoulos Shannon. I will read through these. Item B is the approval of the construction bid and budget increase for Central High School North Fields. I was actually kind of excited to see this because this has been my benchmark for the end of referendum projects. C is the approval of the proposal of furniture purchase for the International Prep Academy. D is the approval of the food service equipment revisions and finishes contingency draw. E is a resolution limitation on administrative costs for FY 2022. F is the approval of cooperative strategies agreement. G is the FY 2022 American Rescue Plan ARP grant and budget. H is the purchase of interactive displays for 2022 renovations. I is the approval of the Evolve Weapons Detection System contract. That is the metal detectors. J is the approval of AGB contract regarding security officer services. And I assume they've been made aware of our hire this evening of Mr. Canales. Okay. K is the Centennial High School 2022 spring trip to France. L is the Central High School 2022 spring trip to Costa Rica. M is completed FOIA requests. N is the bills and treasurers report. O, human resource changes. P is the approval of minutes from the November 8th meeting. Any questions or comments? Ms. Shannon?
I just wanted to clarify, Dr. Taylor, we talked about this earlier. I know more than one of us had the question. The kids who are going on the spring trip, vaccination requirements.
Yep, 14 days before, and then they'll have to test negatively 2 days before that, and on the way there and on the way back.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And you know you're getting old when you see your son's friends coming to Unit 4 to work, and those human resources changes it was a delight to see some of the people coming to work for Unit 4. That will end the consent. Tammy, would you call roll?
Ms. Soteropoulos?
Yes.
Ms. Shannon?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. That will move us to item 10, which is public comment. There are comment cards back on the counter, back in the corner. Thank you. I have one card currently. There's more that want to be filled out. There will be a clock that goes up on the screen. Ms. Soteropoulos, I'll kick it to you to read the rules.
Yeah, so as when your name is called, you're welcome to approach the podium. You may make your comment with or without your mask. It's your choice. Ms. Matkowski is sanitizing it for your hygiene. And you have 3 minutes to say whatever you would like to say, and at 3 minutes, the microphone will be turned off.
I only have one card at this time. Any more that wanted to give to Ms. Soteropoulos, that's fine. Ms. Betsy Holder.
First, I'd like to thank everybody for their service, and honestly, it's very easy to sit here and be an armchair quarterback, having not been in your shoes. However, there are some things I'd like to address, having a child at Unit 4 at Central, and also doing a lot of work with various organizations within the community. Where we are right now as a community, obviously the pandemic, no one's fault. We are here. It's unprecedented times. Having gathered some information from the ISB Illinois report card, one of the biggest things that has struck me is the fact that 47% of our low-income students were either truant or had poor attendance last year. Obviously, that's going to be something that happens based on the fact that a lot of these parents were working and their kids were left home. Again, nobody's fault, but this is something that we are dealing with. Obviously, the violence and everything that's gone through our schools, again, nobody's fault, but something that we need to, problems that need solutions. One of the things that I would really like to urge this board and Unit 4 as a whole is to start working with and continue to foster community relationships. We have Boys and Girls Club, Dream, Lift, Operation Hope, Goal Getters, Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, CPD. It's going to take all of us working from within the community as opposed to going to some of the outside sources. For example, the Care Solace. My opinion on that is it's going to probably cost the district $100,000 roughly, and as a lawyer, I've gotten a lot of these things, headhunters for, to find expert witnesses, things like that. I don't think that's a valuable use of our resources. Right now, we have one school psychologist for each of the high schools and 3 social workers for each of the high schools. I know both of these things are at a low level throughout, or we are at a lack of social workers and psychologists across the country. That's not a problem here, but I would say that the best standard practice, according to Illinois State Board of Education, is 1 psychologist per 500 students and one social worker per 250 students. I would like to see more. I think we would get more from resources going into that than other things, perhaps such as metal detectors and such. I think we need to fix the problems from within. And I think we need to we really need to work on collaborating with the city and with the various services that have proven to work throughout our community. And I see I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments you want to make beyond your 3 minutes, please email them to the board. Ms. Rita Connerly.
Good evening. My name is Rita Connerly. I have students pretty much all across the board at Unit 4, elementary, middle school, and high school. I was most concerned, I think, on Friday, December 3rd, when Central High School was up in chaos. Communication here at Unit 4 sucks. It is poor, not only internally, as we have heard at previous meetings, but externally. And it wasn't from Unit 4 that I heard about the chaos. It was from my daughter. It was from social media. It was from Facebook. It was Instagram. It was TikTok. I still have not heard from my school about December 3rd. I've heard that a gun was found. Is that true? No one speaks about those things. No one is transparent. I'm angry because my daughter, she doesn't know whether or not she wants to go to school or not. She didn't go to homecoming until 9 o'clock this past homecoming on Friday because she was scared. We're not ensuring the safety of our students here. Maybe our white students, but our black students don't feel safe. As a mother of a black student, 5 in Unit 4. 6 in Unit 4. I don't feel safe sending my kids to school on your buses, having them eat that poor lunch in your lunchrooms, sending them home on the bus. It's horrible. Care Solace, that's what y'all should be laughing about. I don't know what's so funny tonight, but that's what you should be laughing about. Sounds like a marketing scheme that you picked up. A complimentary service that's going to act like a telemarketing representative that will seek mental health support services. And while they say that they're free, and we've heard that it probably costs about $100,000, and this service will seek to match clients with providers that accept insurance or work on a sliding scale. So if I'm uninsured, it's very possible I could be waiting a long time for some mental health support, if at all any. Further, will that support look like me? Are black students going to be matched with black service providers? As it concerns to installing additional internet support, we are community schools. Why are we looking to churches, business, and outside organizations to install additional support services when we have schools in every community? Open the doors to the schools. We have computer labs there. Our kids could be accessing those after school and on the weekends. What we need to do, and what Unit 4 should seek to do, is offer more support services that engage the entire family, wraparound family.
Thank you. Next card is Drake Mateer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Drake Mateer, first-year grad student in public health at U of I. I was at Central High School December 3rd to ensure the safety of students and to observe the police. Unfortunately, I was welcomed by many other faculty and members with Unit 4. However, Ms. Heather Vasquez, I felt disrespected that as I was on the phone, FaceTime with other organizers to ensure the safety of our children, because there were children standing on the sidewalks, they could not go back into the school. We didn't know what was going on. There was a whole bunch of officers. I was checked twice to ensure that I was not on the phone recording. I've worked with students, and it didn't ring to me until afterwards. I'm like, I just didn't feel like I could be trusted around the children. And I'm a black man who has worked with children for 6 years, who has worked within Unit 4. So I just felt a little disrespected. I don't need an apology, though. I just wanted to say, okay. So that tells you who you have. And that's perfectly fine. But again, I would like to speak on, let's say, Care Solace. The question, again, I would like to have black folks, black people, connect black people with services that are geared toward black people. And I just hope that that can be done, right? I'm not going to critique, we come up here and be critical a lot, but I will critique and say that if we're going to have some care coordination, we have to have black people and people who look like those who are really in need, connect those with services that are for them. That's just how it is. I'm going to be real honest. I don't think a lot of black and brown people will feel comfortable calling up to a predominantly white women's space to direct them to certain care and services. There's a historical, that's rooted in a historical context with children, black children being ripped from their families because there was mistrust, because there were certain fears against black children and black parenting. So those are just a few things that I would like to discuss. But I also would like to see a little bit more coordination, again, with what was going on at Central High School. Kids standing around on the street, right? And we understood that even with the metal detectors that you implemented at one time, students didn't get inside until, what, third or fourth hour? If kids are just standing out on the street, we understand that that can be a hazard for their safety, right? It's just a learning experience that we're all going through, right? So let's keep working together to get it done. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a card for Candace Livingston.
So, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, wait,
Okay.
just, did you, let her clean that off for you real quick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to the board and everyone present. Several people here have been discussing mental health. Several people here have been discussing the needs of students in Unit 4, specifically the needs of Black and brown students. And while I was sitting in on the meeting, I wanted to point out the emphasis that's placed on police presence and carceral mechanisms here in Unit 4, and how there's an increased emphasis being placed. And I want us to think about also how that affects the mental health of our Black and brown students that we are trying to focus on in these times, before these times, and hopefully still sustained in the future. And these carceral mechanisms impact their anxiety, it impacts their mental health, it impacts their well-being at school, it impacts their willingness to come to school and actually feel safe. And what I just neglected to say is that I am a community member, an educator that has interacted with Unit 4 students on several occasions, and also an education researcher. And a lot of the research tells us that Black and brown students in schools have these increased levels of anxiety, and they do not feel safer with carceral mechanisms like metal detectors, increased police presence, increased surveillance, or these softwares placed on the computers. And you can look to centers like the Advancement Project. You can look to centers like, I heard Dr. Boozer mention speaking to people in Chicago who directed her to Care Solace. Similarly, student organizers and community organizers in Chicago have been working with their schools to actually decrease the police presence and decrease carceral mechanisms in their schools. And in 2020, even their mayor, which everybody has their thoughts about the mayor, but even then, she's put out several statements in relation to other programs and organizations that can be contacted within the place of police or within the place of these mechanisms in schools. And so we can also point to the voices of youth in Chicago education who have successfully had Congress, had bills passed, I forgot the number, to reduce or eliminate zero tolerance policies. And so I just want us to think about how we're thinking about security, how we're thinking about safety, and if we're thinking about it in relation to members of the elite in the community, members who are white, or if we're looking at a community as a whole, and how this will also impact their mental health and impact their well-being at school. And think about the money that you're putting into that in relation to the money that you're putting into what has just been mentioned, like school psychologists, mental health counselors, and like Care Solace mentioned, that they don't have crisis intervention specialists. And so when you have law enforcement entering in the place of those specialists, nothing but harm ensues.
Thank you very much. I have Lucia Moss.
Hello, is this on? Okay, this year, my name is Lucia Moss. I go by Lucy though, sorry, it's weird for me to hear. I'm a senior at Central this year, and I am a student ambassador for the League of Women Voters, and I'm also an observer for the school board meetings this year, so I just wanted to say hello. I'm representing the public. I'm making sure the public is being heard, which obviously they are. So just letting you know that I'll be sitting in at the meetings and observing and taking notes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. The last card I have is Jenny Holder.
Thank you. I'm Ginny Holder. Probably about a seventh generation graduate of Champaign Schools, specifically Champaign Central. I'm the armchair quarterback. I'm 65 years old, and I'm not going to hold back. First, I want to say thank you to anybody and everybody, some of whom are in this room, others have left this meeting, who responded to me on December 3rd when I got a horrifying series of texts from my granddaughter from Central High School. As a grandparent, I have never been more floored by the terrifying texts of a 14-year-old white girl. Not because there was somebody of color going after her, but because her mouth, her brain, her heart were blown away at the violence that was going on in a school a matter of houses down from her home. That already happened weeks before when we had gunshots. You're right, it's post-pandemic. Nobody's fault. But folks, I got to tell you, the marketing and the curbside appeal, it doesn't look good. You're bleeding money. Every single week, we are getting an update in the paper. For those of us who still read the paper, $5 million here, another $1 million over. I read page after page today before I decided to come to this meeting. We can spend $500,000 on furniture. We have Northfields. We have this. We have that. And we have gun violence. We have metal detectors. That doesn't stop a fight. It never has stopped a fight, folks. We have to address what is going on within our school, within our community. We have to be leaders. Every one of you who has been elected, you're a leader in this community. We have to get together as a team and act like it, because I don't want to see that anymore. And yes, I'm going to call it as I see it. I can afford to send my grandchildren to any private school I want to. And I'm not embarrassed to say it because we've worked very hard. But you know what her response was when I said, I'm going to take you out of the school? Her response was, do not ever do that. I don't want to go anywhere. I love Central High School. My heart is hurting. So folks, you bleed all the money you want, but we've got to fix this problem. And as my daughter said, it's a collaborative effort. It's not about a marketing firm. It's not about any one thing, but we have to have people in the black community, the white community, the brown community, the rich and the poor, and all across this community to get together. Or our children, it's not a question of when, folks, it's a question of when they're going to be shot. And I'm sitting here tonight on this date in December, and when this happens, I will be back here. And unfortunately, you don't like this, but we're a family of lawyers, and you know where that goes when you've been warned. So please, please do it for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other cards. Anyone else care to comment? Seeing none, that will move us into board comment. Board communications. Ms. Vasquez?
I want to thank everyone for their comment tonight, their comments, everyone. I was in Central at the lockdown. You should get texts from your children, terrified. It's terrifying. I went there with the intention of bringing my son a sandwich so he could get stats help. I left the room of the teacher who I've known for 10 years, walked out, walked about 3 classroom lengths, and a very nice teacher said to me, you need to get into a room. We're going into a hard lockdown. I ran back to the room where my son was as the teacher closed the door with me in it and locked the door and went right back to teaching the 12 kids that were in that room. Kept them calm, kept them learning, locked the door, told me where the bat was. Very quietly told me where the bat was. and handed me the keys, or told me where the keys were. And then he went about teaching, because that's what our teachers do. We sat there for the lockdown. There's no other word to describe it. People in this room have taken my call from this. Paralyzing. And all I could think was, I know 2 kids in this room, and there's 10. So if someone comes in this door, I'm picking children. And I'm picking mine, and I'm picking the other one I know to block. And that's it, because that's what I can do. And then it started to wrap up, and adults were sent to spots. We were sent to exterior doors to help matriculate students from rooms to room to go back into their passing periods. And then there's students who are outside who haven't been let back in, who are equally terrified because they've not been indoors now for some amount of time, maybe going on over an hour at this point. And I didn't count, but I know there was 3 responding units of police. I thought I saw Champaign Police, University Police, and County Police. Every one of them had a gun in their hand. Every one of them had a hand on a trigger. So I was in that building, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. And my terror that you encountered in Circle Drive was real when a student walked up to me, who I've known since she was 5 years old. And she said, "I'm scared to death, Miss Vasquez. Can you drive me home?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go." She said, "Let's walk this way, though. People are on social media." So I walked over to someone who I've known, and I inquired if you were, in fact, Mr. Matier, which we don't address people, but I'm about to, and I'm breaking protocol. Please forgive me. I addressed Rita. I asked her if she found her daughter. She told me she had. I was grateful to hear that, first and foremost. And then I asked twice if, in fact, you were recording, because to my knowledge, you didn't have children in the building. Have I broken a rule? I got home that day. My son didn't walk home much later than he normally would. Unfazed, very normalized as a 12th grader. I can't agree with all of you more about how much terror we experienced that day, and I genuinely appreciate the feedback, but I want you to know that what we have to focus on, and what I've learned in the last 9 days since this unfolded, is the normality our teachers encountered that day, how they had systems in place. Our students had systems in place. They knew exactly what to do. Our 9th graders probably didn't. Some of our 8th graders probably wouldn't have known. Rising 8th graders maybe didn't know. But the fact that my child was the one who at one point said to me, "Mom, you need to calm down. We're fine." We weren't fine. No one on December 3rd was fine. I'm so grateful that we're taking so many security risks seriously. I believe that the investments we're making in online safety will help us produce physical safety. I'm grateful that we're hiring people for safety, and I'm grateful that Sheila has spearheaded hiring additional safety. I'm grateful that we're putting it in the hands of people who will take mental health seriously. I am dreadfully sorry to every parent in this town whose child called you, because it was terrifying. So I invite you to volunteer more, to step up as often as you can, to do everything you said you're doing. Keep doing it. And if you're already doing it, find more to do it, because we need every single person who can help us to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Any other board comment? I think the only thing I have to wrap up with, to my fellow board members, many of us have children at various campuses. There's 14 kids between us. We know what's going on. We know what's happening. My student at Central is nonverbal. She is not mobile. And the behavior of adults around that perimeter jeopardized those students. The principal was connecting with parents. Her teachers were connecting with me, and we all felt that. But I would encourage us to have, as we move forward we hired a director of security this evening, but we do need to have a plan for securing that perimeter, securing kids, especially if they're outside. And I know you're moving forward with those plans and keeping our children safe. And it's not just been Central, it's been Centennial. It's been we had an elementary school go on lockdown today because of a shooting in the community. And the city is meeting tomorrow, adding more grants between the collaboration between Unit 4 and the city. There's been multiple programs launched. It's never fast enough. And I have deep respect and gratitude to you, Dr. Boozer, for bringing items forward for us to vote on this evening, and I know more will be coming, but it is going to take the whole community.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you to my team. I see you all sitting in here and you have your heads down. I need you to hold your heads up. You are doing amazing work. This is not easy work. We're making some difficult decisions, but we're doing it for what's best for kids. And as long as we ever lead and do what's best for kids, sometimes adults will not feel good about it, but that's okay. We're doing it for kids. Hold your heads up. I appreciate each and every one of you. You are amazing. You have done great work. To our teachers and our administrators in the buildings, the same thing. And as you stated, some things we're never going to do everything right, but we're doing it for the right reason. We will make mistakes, but we're doing it what we know to do. And I'm so thankful to be situated in a community where people are coming from everywhere saying, what can we do to help you, Dr. Boozer and Unit 4? So I'm thankful. So for those who can hear, thank you for reaching out and coming to the table with viable options and things to help us do this work, because it is not a Unit 4 issue. It's a Champaign community issue, and we all are in this together, and it's impacting our schools. And we want to teach. We want to make sure our kids are leaving here ready to go to the next level. And we have a lot of things that are going on that are stopping it a little bit, but we're going to forge on. We're going to do the job that we were hired to do with our heads held high, because that's who we are. So don't ever let anyone else make you feel less than. And that's the same message I give my own kids and to the kids in our district, because we are greater and we are more than enough. And we have a 212-degree attitude, and we're going to keep this locomotion going. And I'm thankful to the board for supporting us with this work as well. And I just want to say thank you again to my amazing team and to this community.
Dr. Baker?
To add to that, as a board member, I wasn't in Central that day, but I do have a kid there as well. Like, I think there's 4 of us that do. And immediately when everything happened, I didn't even get to check on my kid because I had members of the community texting me, asking me what was happening. And so to continuously hear and see everything that was then posted after that was frustrating. I didn't even have clear information. You were trying to get what you could to give to us to be able to be a conduit in many ways to many of the people who are reaching out to us. And so, yes, we are leaders. We are leaders in our community, and we want accurate information to give to people. We also want to make sure that our own kids are safe in those spaces. And to hear threats is very, contradictory to collaboration. And I echo Heather's points on making sure that you are giving what you can. We give a lot. We volunteer our time willingly to do this work. And I don't know about you, but I had to work the afternoon of Friday, December 3rd. So trying to do all of this while trying to find out information and to ease concerns, I think people should get more of an insight and maybe ask us as opposed to telling us what's been happening. This is none of this is easy. I do want to end, though, with homecoming, because that did happen this past weekend. And a lot of our students did get an opportunity, whether they went by themselves, with friends, whatever it was, to experience our schools in a different way. And I kept saying, it felt semi-normal. I don't want it to feel normal. I want it to feel what it is today in 2021, where our kids got to experience just a regular part of high school, where they got to have fun. They stayed till the end. over what, maybe 700 students attended. We have opportunities to provide safe spaces for our kids. The more that we can do that, obviously, the better. But I also just want to emphasize, keep emphasizing what Heather said. We need adults wherein we can. And I'm not asking for volunteers necessarily in those spaces. I'm asking for paid positions when and where we can also get them, because we want to recognize and validate that work. But going straight to Facebook when something happens is counterintuitive to what we are trying to provide to our community. We are trying to get the message. We understand that not every space is always going to be 100% safe. We're working on that, but can you work on that with us and not do exactly what we ask students not to do? We ask them not to go straight to Facebook with this. We ask them to come to us and collaborate and not make threats. And yet we see that from adults, and now we expect our students to do anything different. I just don't understand. I'm really trying. But thank you to Central for providing that for our students, and I hope the same for Centennial.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. And back to wrap around, because Dr. Baker brought it up earlier, the rave. Having a nonverbal child who can't text me, I don't have that privilege. But what I do care about is that parents that needs to happen soon, that rave, because that would actually calm a lot of this. And I know you're working on it, Valerian, and I know it comes, but our teachers are traumatized, our kids are traumatized, and communication has to be accurate. And so rave, I think, would probably help with that if we can get directly to parents and caregivers and guardians so that they know exactly what's happening. And I know it's, as someone who's well-versed in crisis, I get it. It moves quickly, and there were people doing everything they could. So a huge thank you to the Central staff, the administration, our students. Our students were amazing, and the Champaign Police Department was amazing, and I'm sure there were more. But it was felt. It's been felt. And to Dr. Baker's point, we've been here. And actually, there's a few commenters here tonight who have been here. They know this work, and we need more people just like them pushing in to help you, Dr. Boozer. So if somebody wanted to apply for a job in Unit 4,
we have plenty of positions open.
Apply online.
We keep hearing we don't have. Well, if I could manufacture them like that, I would. But we have an amazing HR department and recruiter. We have job fairs. We're recruited everywhere, trying to get more social workers and psychologists and bus drivers and food monitors, whatever. We need them. So we're looking for everyone. And just so you know, even when rave is up, it's not going to solve the problem. All it's going to do is tell you quicker. But our focus is making sure everyone is safe and everything's under control. That's our number one, and I keep saying that's my number one goal. Getting everything, not making sure everybody knows every intricate detail, because I'm not going to do that, but letting you know what's going on, and then giving you the full detail once we get everything worked out will happen, but we just cannot do it in the heat of the moment. Our job is making sure our kids and our staff are safe. Then we can communicate everything else, the fullness. And Stacy, thank you for all your messaging that went out this today and on the 3rd. I'm looking at all the emails and all the things that went out to the families and students and staff, so appreciate you, and Mr. Williams for all that, so thank you.
Ms. Armstrong, if I could just say we have positions available on, if you want to work 1 day a week, we have those kinds of positions available.
Yep.
If you want to work every day for 2 hours, we have those kinds of positions available, all the way up to full-time positions. We have even some nights and evening kinds of positions. So champaignschools.org/employment will take you to all of the opportunities. And there's information about how to contact our recruiter, Jay Owen. She's happy to talk with folks about different opportunities they may have as well. So please take advantage of that. You can also reach out to me. I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Ken. There's also mentoring available. I know that I just saw another request went out looking for mentors in the community for our kids. There's a waiting list. Yeah, absolutely.
I know leadership is so important to everyone in this room. So I wanted to point out two things. One, as your parliamentarian, I wanted to remind everybody that the agenda for board meetings is always posted at least 48 hours ahead of time. It's required by law. And so a lot of the information, including costs, can always be found on our website, champaignschools.org. Just look for the board page. The second thing I'd like to talk about this evening is a few weeks ago, we went to the conference and we were massively successful with our resolution. So I would like to thank everybody who submitted a resolution. And I would like to talk about the resolutions that passed. The cannabis sales tax resolution passed. I think it was like 79% yes to 21% no. Federal funding for landscaping, that also passed, pretty close to either 77 or 78% yes, the rest no. Expanding broadband internet coverage throughout the state of Illinois, that passed, so thank you to Dr. Baker. And then our resolutions, to kind of boil it down, our resolutions, some that were passed in the consent agenda, will come together to update language around student rights within the state of Illinois. So there's only so many things that we can do as board members. And something about this group of board members is that when we run out of things that we can do, if we see something that we cannot change in the seats that we occupy, we're the type of people that go, okay, so then how do we change it? And we go figure it out and we do it. And when one of us says, I have an idea, will you help me? This group of board members is willing to say, of course I will, because we care about our students, not just the ones in this district, but in the state of Illinois. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I was watching you in there. I read the minutes, just looking for CUSD. Elizabeth's input in there. Your mark was on those minutes.
A lot of CUSD.
Yeah, so thank you. That will move us into item 12. Make sure. Which is whom did we affect and whom did we tell? And the history of this line on our agenda is because before we came on the board, boards had made a date that if you weren't vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you couldn't attend schools, but they didn't tell Carl and OSF. They didn't tell the health providers. So they reached out to me and said, y'all made a rule, but you didn't tell us. We didn't include the community in that communication. So whom did we affect this evening and whom do we tell? And I know, Stacy, you are tremendous at pushing out our information. But one of the first things we did was hire a director of security and school safety. And the community should know that. Jeremy Canales is taking that position in January. Dr. Boozer added in a report about Care Solace Mental Health. This is a provider of appointments. And our families have been telling us that they need these things. Mr. Couch, you did an amazing job with an update to your technology team. We abated some taxes back to the taxpayers. We are sending money back to the taxpayers. So thank you, Ms. Matkowski, and we thank you very much for your monthly finance meetings. In fact, you have one coming up. That's a public meeting right here. Oh, January. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, January. Holidays coming up. So in January, we welcome the community to sit through that because it is actually great presentations around the finances of the district, where money is going, where it's coming from. We also just had a referendum oversight committee meeting, which is also public here at the Mellon Building, where we discussed the facilities and the money we've been spending to make them accessible and providing our students with 21st century learning. And thank you, Valerian, to adding to that with the work you're doing. We did issue the levy, which we are required to do by law. That's how we get the money from our county clerk. We approved our title grant application, which serves our most at-risk students to close to $6 million, which will come from between a combination. Is that all federal? Is that some state?
That's all federal.
all federal. The North Fields will begin soon at Central High School. IPA is going to have furniture. So we have a lot of information to push out into the community. The meeting tomorrow night at the city should be really important. The things they're discussing on how to support the district and other community partners and the violence that we are experiencing will be, I notice First Followers is really ingrained into a lot of that grant work tomorrow, so I'm excited to see that meeting.
I think we should just really emphasize that. That's an enormous project that the city is working on with partnering with Unit 4, partnering with First Followers, as you say, partnering with CU Trauma and Resiliency Initiative. They're partnering with everybody you can think of and many organizations that I didn't even know existed. They are really picking it up and running with it because we all know that this violence is a community problem. So I urge everyone who is concerned about this, and that's pretty much all of us, to stay tuned for the city council meeting tomorrow night.
Yeah, they've been a great partner through this. And thank you to my fellow board members. Thank you for being in it and with us. And we are not bobbleheads, I can tell you that. We don't always agree, and we can spar, but we always go with what's best for kids. And that will move us into item 13, which is our future meetings, which is a regular board meeting on January 10th, a special board meeting on January 20th, another regular board meeting on January 24th, and again on February 14th. And as I know, all of my fellow board members are also accessible for coffee and meeting with folks in the community who want to know more about what we do and how we do it. We do not have a need to move into exec session. So that will move us to item 16. May I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Soteropoulos Shannon. Tammy, would you call? Actually, we don't have to do it anymore because it's Zoom. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. We are adjourned.